This week, our castaway is Her Serene Highness, Princess Grace of Monaco. How well could you adjust yourself to loneliness, continued loneliness?
I think it would be very difficult. I love being alone in the midst of the crowd, but I don't know if complete solitude would, that I could cope for very long. I doubt it.
Do you think that desert island situation would start up any kind of irrational fear or phobia?
Well, I don't know. I'm sure it would. I have phobias already, so I'm sure I'd collect a few more.
How important in your life is music?
Well, I love music, and of course we're very spoiled in Monaco with a wonderful orchestra, and we have lots of music.
Were you taught music as a child?
Yes, I was. I studied piano, and of
You
course abandoned it before I was able to be my mother's great hope.
You don't play anymore?
I don't, no.
Not even for your own pleasure?
No, I wish I had continued, but alas, like so many, I abandoned.
Do you sing?
Not anymore. I used to.
Yes, I know.
A little bit.
But you don't anymore?
No.
Oh, what a pity.
Oh, for myself. When I drive, if I'm alone driving in a car, I sing.
Now, 8 records to last for we don't know how long on that island. What's your first record?
Well, my first record is a Fred Astaire.
Why did you choose Fred Astaire?
Well, I love all of his music. I loved his dancing. I love his singing. It's very difficult to make a selection because there's so many I like. But perhaps this one is my favorite.
And what's it called?
You're Easy to Dance With.
I could dance nightly just holding you tightly, my sweet. I could keep right on because you're so light on your feet. You're easy to dance with.
Fred Astaire. Now, Your Highness, you were born in Philadelphia. The Kellys obviously come from Ireland. How far back did your forebears set sail?
It was my grandfather, my father's father, who came from County Mayo to Vermont, and the first children were born there, and then they moved to Philadelphia. My father was born in Philadelphia.
Yes. Now, your father was a building worker who became rather good at it. He became a very successful contractor.
Yes, well, one of his older brothers was also in the construction business. And when my father came back from the army, he was in France in 1918, another brother gave him a gift of money to start his own business.
And he was a very good sportsman, too.
Yes, he was.
An oarsman of Olympic standard.
Yes, indeed. He won the Olympics, the single sculls in 1920, and also the doubles with a cousin of his from Philadelphia.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have 2 sisters and a brother.
All brought up to be good at sports?
Yes, they were all very good. I was sort of the non-athletic member of the family, but I was exposed to many sports.
Yes. Well, your father did well in the building trade, but you took after a couple of uncles who were doing rather well in the theatre.
Yes, my Uncle George was a dramatist, and Walter had great success as a monologuist. He was known as the Virginia Judge,
Yes.
and toured all of the English-speaking world with his stories, and he was a great storyteller.
And your Uncle George, the playwright who won a Pulitzer Prize, he had begun in vaudeville too.
Yes, he did. He wrote and acted in his own plays, and then continued only writing.
As a child, were you taken to the theatre much?
I was, and also to the ballet. I worked occasionally with an amateur group in Philadelphia. When they needed a child to do something, I filled in there.
And in school plays, I suppose.
And in school plays, of course.
When did you decide that you wanted acting to be your career?
Well, I suppose when it came time to finish high school and to make a decision of where I was to study, at that time I was very interested in modern dancing. I had studied ballet when I was a youngster, and then at age 15 and 16 I did a lot of modern dance, which I liked very much, and wanted to continue, and I applied for a college that specialized particularly in dance and drama, where I could specialize immediately without going through the customary 2 years of liberal arts, of general courses. But it was just after the war, and priority was given to all of the GIs coming home. They were able to have scholarships into all the colleges, and so the girls were sort of pushed aside, and I was put on a waiting list, and I'm still waiting. So then I decided I was able to get into the American Academy of Dramatic Art in New York, and I started there.
You were for a brief while a school teacher, just for a few months.
Well, yes, when I was waiting to go to school in New York, my school in Philadelphia asked me to come and help with the youngsters, which I enjoyed. It was lovely.
Good. And then off you went to drama school, and at this point we break off your second record. What is it?
Well, it's Frank Sinatra, You Make Me Feel So Young.
One of his best.
I think so.
You make me feel so young. You make me feel like spring sprung. Every time I see you grin, I'm such a happy individual the moment that you speak. I want to run, play hide and seek. I want to go and bounce the moon just like a big balloon.
One of Frank Sinatra's songs for swinging lovers, You Make Me Feel So Young. So, you left drama school. What was your very first job?
My first job was in summer stock at the New Hope Playhouse.
Where's that?
That is in Pennsylvania.
And you did bits of modelling and television commercials and all that sort of
Well,
thing?
yes, I did some photographic modelling when I was going to school.
And then you played in one of Uncle George's plays.
Well, I did a couple of his in school and also in summer stock, yes.
Yes, at Bucks County Playhouse.
That's right.
And then, quite quickly, on to Broadway.
Well, I was very fortunate that Raymond Massey and Mady Christians were very tall, because it was my problem as a young ingenue that I was quite tall.
Yes.
And so I lost many parts because of that. But happily, playing their daughter, it was believable, and I had my first job.
And that was in Strindberg's The Father.
That's right, yes.
A lot of television drama.
Yes, I got into television in the days when it was live and a little frantic and hectic, but great fun.
And you played your first movie part in New York.
Yes, it was a picture called 14 Hours. It was taken from a true story of a boy on the ledge of the Gotham Hotel who was there for 14 hours before he jumped.
Oh, yes.
And all of the attempts to save his life, and his story was revealed during these 14 hours.
And then what? What was the next important thing?
Well, then I was in New York doing television and also summer stock. I was in Denver for a season of stock, and then I went to California for High Noon.
High Noon with Gary Cooper, a great Western. But as in most Westerns, there wasn't much of a leading woman's part. It was all sort of male-dominated story.
Certainly it was his picture.
Well, nevertheless, it was a prestige movie which really got you launched.
Well, I was very happy to be in it, yes.
What's your third record?
My third record is Don McLean. It's called On the Amazon.
Why did you choose that?
Well, because it appeals to my sense of humor, and I find it delightful and great fun.
The Amazon, the prophylactics prowl on the Amazon, the hypodermics howl on the Amazon. You'll hear a scarab scowl and sting, zodiacs on the wing.
Don McLean singing an early Vivian Ellis number on the Amazon. Now, your screen career was, well, comparatively brief, but you worked with some very good directors, John Ford, for example.
Yes, I was very fortunate in working with wonderful people, really.
Magambo, the Ford picture, was there a better leading woman's role in that?
Oh, well, certainly I played the second lead. Ava Gardner played the lead with Clark Gable.
He must have been so knowledgeable. What was he a good man to work with? A helpful man?
John Ford.
I was talking about Clark Gable.
Clark Gable.
But the same goes for both of them.
Well, they were great professionals, and they were very kind to me and very helpful because I was very new at the job. And it was a great experience working with both of them.
And then you did a couple straight off for Alfred Hitchcock.
Yes.
Dial M for Murder and Rear Window. Now, he was reputed to have had a poor opinion of actors. They were expendable. Did you find any evidence of that?
Well, it's difficult to comment. Actually, working with Hitchcock was a delight in every way. He was a wonderful man, a very talented one, and with a great sense of humor, with tremendous patience. I only knew kindness and understanding from him.
Then, for your role in The Country Girl, from the play by Clifford Odets, you were given an Academy Award. That was a rather unusual Bing Crosby role, wasn't it? It was one of his few straight
Yes,
dramatic
it
roles.
was quite a departure for Bing to play a dramatic role, which he did extremely well.
And a very good story, of course.
Yes, it's a wonderful play.
And then back to Hitchcock for To Catch a Thief.
Yes.
And back to records for number 4.
Well, the fourth one is, I think, the only berceuse that Chopin ever wrote, and it's very beautiful and lovely. And it's, of course, played to perfection by Arthur Rubinstein.
Chopin's Berceuse in D-flat, played by Arthur Rubinstein. For To Catch a Thief with Cary Grant, there was a lot of location shooting on the French Riviera. Was that your first visit?
It was the first time I saw the Mediterranean and was on the Riviera, yes.
Was it on that occasion that you first met your future husband, Prince Rene?
No, it wasn't. Actually, I met my husband the following year when I went to Cannes for the festival.
And then he went to the United States to see you, but before there could be wedding bells, you had one more film to do.
Actually, I did two. Between the time that we met and we were married.
Well, the one I was going to talk about was High Society, one of the best musicals ever made, I think.
Well, it was a fun film to do. We all enjoyed it, and it just seemed to work from the very beginning.
That lovely Cole Porter score.
It's delightful.
And you with Bing Crosby in a very much lighter mood, and Sinatra. And the other film?
The other film was The Swan, which I did just before High Society.
Yes, with Alec Guinness,
yes.
Wasn't it? And then off to a very different life, to become a member of the Grimaldi family. How many centuries is it that the family has ruled Monaco?
Since the 13th century.
There have been gaps, of course. History books tell us that at various times Monaco has been occupied by Italy, France, Germany, Spain, and the Kingdom of Sardinia, but it still kept its independence.
Yes, and, the only time that the family was away was just after the French Revolution. For 20 years, the palace was ransacked and used as hospital, old people's home, and then the prince came back and restored the palace to the family.
And, of course, the Monaco people are seagoing people, corsairs and peaceful traders.
Well, until 100 years ago, the only access to Monaco was by sea.
Yes.
Oh, one could come from the old Roman road over the mountains and then down to Monaco. But the railroad came in about 1863, and, of course, that changed the principality entirely.
Well, more about Monaco in a minute. Let's have another record.
Well, for the next record, I'd like something of Bach, and I've chosen a sonata for cello and piano, the number 1 in G major.